Hello, hello.
Hello, mate.
Hey, woo woo.
And then there were two.
I don't bother speaking at first because no point talking to myself. Although I'll probably get more sense, but only joking. Only joking.
I liked your marvelous graphic, by the way. That was pretty cool. It's cool that he liked it as well.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we do miss him. It's proved since he's been out, we're conceding goals all the time.
Yeah. It's quite mad. Like last season, he couldn't get into the game, like into the squad for or the starting team for love nor money. Now we'd absolutely cut anybody's limbs off to have him back on the pitch.
Yeah, I know. Bring him back.
I know. I just can't wait. I honestly, we need him to come back as soon as possible. Just Dougie, for all his strengths and stuff, doesn't really do it in that position, and I don't think he really wants to play there anymore. Um, so I just think we need to get him back in there and shore things up a bit.
I mean, gotta do something because Dougie, he's a good player, he's quality, but he isn't a defensive midfielder.
Not at all. He's getting quite a lot of flack, and then people are talking about selling him, and it's like, but do you know what? We shouldn't even be thinking about selling him at this point. Yeah, he's not doing great in the CDM role. It's not his position, and to be honest, if you keep getting Marganard games, you're like, really again. So I think if he's played in his right position, he's absolutely he's much better. So I don't know why I've seen a few comments about being harsh as usual.
Yeah. Chris coming, yeah.
Yeah.
Jay said he can't see an invitation, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, mine was. I saw it, but then I accepted it, and it took a while for it to actually go through. So I think Jay's just coming as a speaker now.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's good then. Hello, Jay.
Hello, chaps. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Excellent. Okay, I'm just trying to just set up these the AirPods. 1 second. That's all right. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we hear you good.
Excellent. Okay, all right. I think we are all good.
Yep, all good in the hood.
Nice one. Yeah, all good. Yeah. So how are we, gents? Thanks very much for the invitation to join you this evening. I never miss an opportunity to talk about our beloved Aston Villa, of course, and looking forward to sort of having a bit of a chat and sort of sharing a few memories and
hopefully good future. We need a cup.
It'd be nice.
That's what we need.
It would be nice. It would. A shame, obviously, going out to United. I think in the FA Cup wasn't unexpected. Okay, we won there earlier in the season, but let's be honest, our record there has been pretty poor over the years. So next season.
Yeah, definitely. Which one? So would you have a preference? Or?
Well, for me, I mean, I was lucky enough to remember, obviously, 94 and 96 when we won the cup. Obviously, under Big Ron in 94, and then under Brian Little in 96, and that was obviously our. It was amazing to be there. I remember being with my family. My dad was there working at the game. I was there with my mum and my granddad and that, and it was amazing. Even sort of the noughties, the League Cup as it is known was huge. You know what I mean? It was massive, and unfortunately, I think it lost a bit of its attraction, a sense, over the years, and because of the top, you went all out. You wanted to win that. You wanted to win that cup, to have your day out at Wembley, whether it be qualifying for Europe that way or just simply having 90,000 fans at Wembley Stadium for a cup final. So I'd love it. I'd love to be there. I mean, I was there. What was it, 2 years ago when we lost to Man City, as well. But yeah, I mean, for me, I love it. Absolutely love it, and it would be great to sort of put a run together next season and see what we could do.
Yeah. How old was you when? 94, 96. How old was you?
I was in '94. I would have been 9. 9 years old, and then obviously 11. 37 now, so would have been 11 in '96. So at that age,
Yeah, it's about the same as me. Remember it like it was yesterday. I remember watching it and stuff.
Me too. And I've still sort of got the pictures and whatever that are in. I think they're in the loft now, actually. But I did have a look at them the other day, and sort of, I remember standing on the seat, not being able to see because everybody was just standing up. And the old Wembley, the seats were pretty naff, so you had to sort of stand on the seats to try and get a glimpse. To be honest, I don't think I saw half the game because I think probably the tallest people in Wembley stood in front of me. But I remember their face painted, flags, scarves. You can't beat it. Seeing the claret and blue around Wembley, there's not much better sights than that.
No, definitely not. I noticed that a lot of people just stand up anyway, especially in the whole end nowadays. Everyone just stands up. I don't think anyone sits down for the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember sitting down at a away game, especially. Been to obviously quite a few in recent years, and like you say, certainly the lower Holt. I know I'm a season ticket holder in the lower Holt, and yeah, it is standing. There's some going. You're singing, you're getting behind the team, and I know that there's a few stages trial with the safe standing, which is brilliant. We all appreciate sort of what happened many years ago with Hillsborough and the like, which was obviously tragic. But I think we've now got into a situation that fans are standing anyway. So let's work with the fans. Let's get standing back. Make that atmosphere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Where about do you sit in the lower Holt?
So I'm in L8. So I'm right in sort of in the wing on the left hand side, just sort of tucked in towards just by L7. There's a few of my good season tickets in and around there. One of my best mates as well, who lives in London now. We're just outside London as well. He's got his season ticket there. So we try to sort of get up to as many games as we can, and it's always a good occasion, and it being at Villa Park. Let's be honest.
Yeah, definitely. So I take it you don't live in Birmingham.
I live on the Isle of Wight now. So I was born in born in Solihull. Grew up in Birmingham, going to my first game from the age of 6 years old. My dad was a journalist for best part of 40 odd years. Do you remember the old Sports Argus? Do you remember the pink paper? Chief sports writer there for many years. So I was lucky enough to go to games with dad at the time, while dad was working, and sort of getting there in the Trinity Road, and the old Trinity, which the roof came down so far that it was like almost looking through a letterbox, because all you could see was the pitch. You couldn't really see the Doug Ellis stand, the Whitton Lane stand at that time. So forever through my dad, my granddad, my mum, it's part a family tradition, I suppose.
Yeah, I noticed there's still quite a few stadiums like that, aren't there, which are like, you see some of people's pictures when they go to a game, it's like can't even see what's going on.
Definitely. And obviously living on the south coast now, Fratton Park is one that I've been to quite a few times, again, especially when my dad was working here on the south coast. And that especially, that is a real throwback stadium. And you know what? It's great. It is great. I do like the modern, and obviously Villa Park, and you know, but the stadiums like Pompey, the old Dell at Southampton as well. Real stadiums which you get at the lower leagues, and I think quite a few Villa fans in sort of throwback grounds. You know what I mean? Okay, the view wasn't always the best, but certainly the atmosphere. Just I don't know, sort of something a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I live in Gloucestershire, so
Yeah.
now and again I've been to a few Swindon games, and again that stadium's a bit old.
I'm trying to think where I went to. Oh, obviously Brentford. That was the new stadium a few weeks ago. But yeah, say Fratton Park for me is probably one that does stand out. Obviously, hate to sort of mention them, but St Andrews as well was the same. Sort of sat in the press box there with my old man, and again because the roof comes down so far,
Yeah,
you are looking almost like it is through a letterbox.
I hate that ground,
Yeah,
to be fair.
yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, I'm about Forest Green Rovers, so
Okay, yeah.
I've never actually been to a game there, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, I think it's great. I mean, these new stadiums, the likes of Pride Park, St Mary's Stadium, Southampton, Leicester's, they're all sort of nice looking stadiums, but they're all the same. You know what I mean? They're all the same. They're all the bowl as such. Capacity of what 30-ish thousand, a good noise in there, but. You look at the likes of Villa Park, especially. You ask any away fan, certainly that I've spoken to, who's been there, they will rate it as one of the best stadiums they've ever been. There's just something special about it. Something special. It's sort of got that old-fashioned feel in a sense, but also as a modern stadium as well. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Hawthorns, it always reminds me of like Legoland, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. That's a good comparison, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, I ain't even been to that ground since they had it all done. The last time I went to it was when it was like the old stuff.
Probably about 6 or 7 years ago. Maybe even more than that, actually. Was the last time I went. Yeah. And again, it was. It's an all right stadium. It's an okay stadium. But there's certainly ones that have these days have well overtaken. I went to the Majeski Stadium, been there at Reading a few times. Again, sort of that round bowl sort of style stadium. I like Brighton. Brighton, that as a modern stadium is a little bit different, as was Brentford's actually as well the other week. Sort of that little bit different. You know what I mean? Considering it was a new stadium as such.
Yeah, so you do away days quite often, do you?
Well, living on the Isle of Wight, it's we have to sort of go an hour away on the ferry when you take the car, so it's not too bad really. But it's just sort of the timing. So midweek games, unfortunately for me, are very difficult unless I'm sort of relying on taking the following day off. But I try to get as many away games. I've been lucky enough to get to a few stadiums over the years, and it's something that I want to try to continue to do, especially living on the south coast. A train from Portsmouth to London here is only an hour and a half. Once you get over the, definitely something. Touch wood, COVID is moving in the right direction away, and we'll be able to continue to go to games for good now. That's what I'm really hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to a few away stadiums, but I'd like to go to more, I think.
Definitely, I think it's great if you get the opportunity as a fan. It's great to do it. I mean, first of all, the atmosphere with the away fans is something special because you get the more, I don't know, the more vocal fans or the more perhaps hardcore fans that do follow the team across the country, and they can make as much noise as a home ground, as a home crowd easily, very very easily. So from that aspect, it's brilliant. And like I say, you go to these new stadiums, it's great to see it to either compare it to Villa Park, compare the stadiums to each other, and just get that experience. Really, I think it's great to do, especially like I say for me, being on the south coast, been lucky enough to do, the likes of Bournemouth, and then as you sort of start travelling up towards Reading, and then you're into London. But there's certainly a couple of London grounds I'd like to try to get to before the end of the season. But if not, hopefully next season.
Yeah, if you go in there, don't take any caps with you.
No, I don't think I will. To be honest, that's
No.
that's absolutely insane. What's happened there? It's pretty disgusting, I have to say.
Yeah. So, what did you think of Villa's performance against Leeds United?
Do you know what? It was a bit of a roller coaster, wasn't it? To be honest, I mean, I think we've obviously had 60. We had 16 days off, I think, didn't we? From our last game. Okay, we had a few players, the likes of Buendia and Coutinho on international duty, Martinez. So, certainly the core group of players was at Bodymore, and it allowed Gerrard to sort of work with these players and get a few more ideas. Sucker punch goal from Dan James to start with, and then you start thinking, what's going on? But I think, don't get me wrong, is that ability to score goals. And we're not just relying on our strikers. We've got players within the team who can create chances, players who can score goals. And I honestly think now, whoever we play, of being in there. And obviously that happened the other night. We went 3-1 up before just before half time, which for me, I'm thinking brilliant. Ramsey link up was, I'm sitting there reveling it. I think this is absolutely wonderful. And then it winded us, to be honest. I think that was again a bit of a sucker punch goal. Going in the break at 3-2. Again, we're still ahead. We've still scored 3 goals in the first half. And then we let it sort of slip second half. It was a shame. I think we noticed the difference as well when Buendia came off, and Coutinho came off as well. We did seem to lose a bit of our shape. A couple of minutes from the end of the game, and that was it really. When we were pretty much hanging on for the draw then for the last 8 minutes of injury time, and however more minutes there were. But I'm excited. Don't get me, as a Villa fan, it's an exciting time for us, isn't it? At the moment, watching 2 Brazil players, 2 Argentina players. Could you imagine that when we were kids? It would have been, unheard of.
Yeah. For me, it was the defensive side of things. Attacking wise, we was good when we went forward, but defensively, it was a bit shocking.
A bit sloppy. I mean, I've seen a lot of criticism of Tyrone Mings this week on maybe valid, but some of it I really think is personally way over the top. I'm a Mings fan. I think what he's done for the club since he joined. I was there at his first game at Reading away when he came, and straight away you could see he was a leader. And that was something that we'd been lacking really. Okay, we had JT for the season, I think, prior to that, but after what we'd been through, we didn't have many leaders or players that were there. He sort of started shoring things up a bit. For us to get through, he played a huge role. Did a few other players, don't get me wrong, it wasn't just him. The likes of Hurahan, Adoma, Glenn Whelan playing a role in the middle. But he stepped up to the Premier League for all his faults. I think you can also look at the flip side and look at the bringing the ball out from the back, starting attack, starting to sort of create things from the back as well. But overall, I do agree we were sloppy. But does that come down to midfielder to protect the back four? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think me and Ivan was saying that just missing the camp. He couldn't get in the team. Then he got in the team. and then you just seen the difference he made. And now I think he's a quality player, but he's not a defensive midfielder.
No. I think Doug is I think he's a good player. I think Doug is a very, you're not in and around the Brazil team if you're not very good. I think he sort of got shoehorned into that centre defensive midfielder role a bit. Worked a bit, but yeah, I agree with Nakamba. I think he had a bit of a slow start to his Villa career, in and out, a few injuries here and there. But this season, I agree, he really sort of balls and winning those tackles and reading the game and breaking up the play and ultimately protecting the back four. Say every team needs a player, whether it be one or two, protecting the back four, and then allowing the other midfielders to play. Those holding midfielders, allowing the midfielders in front of them to link up more with the strikers. But yeah, for a few more months, are we gonna buy in the summer? I know we've been linked with a few. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we bring somebody else in this summer for that sort of holding midfielder role.
I agree with that totally, because
Yeah.
obviously he was linked with the Juventus one. He went to Spurs.
Yeah.
Who else? There's about 3, weren't there? I think.
Yeah, I think there was. And I think Basuma would be. Gerard openly said this week, didn't he, that we'd been in for him, which was interesting tactic. You know what I mean? I don't know what the plans are, but they know better than me. I think it'd be good. I know now whether or not hopefully that will sort of get dealt with in the right way, and we can make a move for him in the summer. I know Graham Potter came out, didn't he? Was it yesterday or in his pre-match? A team comes in who's offering big money and the opportunity of Champions League football, etc., then it's hard to keep a player. Teams in for him. Who knows? Perhaps there is.
Yeah, what I like is we won't be like how that ransom, and we won't just buy them for the sake of it. I think that's like spending ridiculous money when you don't have to.
Yeah, definitely. I think sort of over the money for players, haven't we? We've perhaps paid over the odds at times, and it has sort of bitten us. So yeah, look, I think Coutinho. We've attracted Philippe Coutinho, who's 29 years old, who is already showing in 2.5 games how much class he has got. He's scored 2 goals. He's linking up the play. You can only see good things. To play under Steven Gerrard as a central midfielder must be, and to have Steven Gerrard talking to you and mentoring you and his team around him, because it's not just him, like Sir Michael Beale and the other guys around him play a massive important role. But as a centre midfielder, to have Gerrard as your boss, I mean that's got to be pretty player.
Yeah, definitely. I think having Stevie G makes the difference.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big Dean Smith fan. I love what he did for us. He stabilised the club. He got us back in the big time and was, had perhaps reached a bit of a point. I said he was a custodian, but I'm a Steven Gerrard fan. I follow Rangers things up there and know the incredible work he and his team did in Scotland. So when we were linked with him first, I was excited, and then sort of when we sort of got it over the winner. He's a proven winner. He's done it with Liverpool. He's a Champions League winner. He's one captain. He's a massive personality as a player. And touch wood, he's starting to make he's certainly making his mark as a manager now. And it's so exciting.
Yeah, definitely. As you said about Dean Smith there, Lenny, to be fair.
He is, yeah. Look, I'm a massive fan, as I say, massive fan of Dean. He's he's a Villa fan. Look, when he came in as manager, it was what we needed. His long time assistant, JT as well, which I think was at the time it was perfect. Any Villa fan or any true Villa fan, you know, every true Villa fan wanted him to succeed and do well, and he did. You know, look, that day at Wembley, okay, it was. We shouldn't have been in the Championship, but we were, and that's live. That was one of the best. It was unbelievable, and they are memories that we'll cherish forever. You know, having a Villa as captain at the time and a Villa manager who was also a fan was just incredible. And like I say, stay up. I really do. I think I'd love them to stay up and Sundays at home. Exactly that. I really hope Dean can do it. It's going to be tough, but I think what he's done already is pretty amazing. And look, if they do that,
he's got quite a good record. So
hopefully they'll stick with him. You know, they stuck with Daniel Farker for long enough, sort of going up and down. So I think Dino's great, and if he, as and when he comes back to Villa Park, he's going to get certainly from me a hero's reception, because I think he's fantastic. I really do.
Yeah, definitely. It was Dean Smith. Did you meet Dean Smith?
Yes, yeah, I did. I did meet Dean. Met him a few times. I was lucky enough, actually. So, as I mentioned, my dad's a journalist and sort of covered Villas through the.
Listening.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Sort of through the 70s, 80s.
I can see him. Hello, Peter.
Yeah, yes, yeah. It's just come up. I just see
I've got the book he did with Brian Little. So.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah. No, fantastic. I'll if that's okay. Sort of going back to Dino, I did, and I was lucky enough as well. My old man had a couple of. He attended the 80 programs from that match, which he got signed by a few of the players, because he's pretty much all the squad now, which is wonderful. And for me, you know, I've grown that as well over the years and been fortunate enough to meet them. And we actually presented Dean with one of these signed 82 programs. About just over 2 years ago, which was such a privilege to do. And you know, I think he sees what you get. You know what I mean? He didn't. I think perhaps towards the end, I think the pressure started. He was hospitable. He was honest. He wanted the best for Aston Villa. You know what I mean? As all one, you can't ask more than that, really.
No, definitely. True professional.
Professional who wanted the best for the club, and like I say, you know, some magnificent results. And I think it was just such a shame that the season, or last season, wasn't it? When we beat Liverpool 7-2, we weren't there. You know, we had these incredible results. Now, whether or not if we were there, the game would have finished. It's a shame that the fans weren't there to see that sort of victory. And, you know, the last minute 1-0 at Leicester, and was it a 3-0 at Arsenal as well, I think, and results like that, you know, he scored some magnificent results. And I think they almost got lost a little bit because fans weren't at grounds. You know what I mean? I think
well, let's be honest, he's done the opposite of Gerrard. He beat the hard teams.
True.
So.
You can't. I mean, we've been unlucky, haven't we, this season? I think certainly, the FA Cup at Old Trafford was one that just we should never have lost that. We should. We got stuffed by Chelsea, didn't we? We lost to obviously Man City at home. I was there for that just before Christmas. Interesting games coming up, and I'd love us to see. I'd love us to take a few points.
Yeah, definitely. I'm probably doing this a bit early, but I normally ask it at the end. But against Newcastle, what would you like to see, like formation, lineup? Really?
I mean,
because Stevie G had his press conference and he said who's available and who isn't.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Stevie G's formation is with the fullbacks pushing on. That's why we've signed Luca Dean, because he wants his athleticism, I think, and he's more attacking prowess. So it's going to be a 4-3-3. Who plays centre half in place of Konsa? I don't know. I mean, it surprised me, if I'm honest, that he brought Chambers on ahead of Courtney Hall. Considering Chambers obviously hadn't played for us. So it'll be interesting to see who he starts, whether it's Chambers or Courtney Hawes. Apart from that, I don't think there's going to be much difference within the team, really. I think he's got his style of play, and I think our lineup, and this is how we're going to do things. So I think we've been playing overall. We've been playing well. We have been playing well. We could play better, of course, but he's still getting his sort of formation, his tactics, and where he wants the players to be when they've got the ball and when they're not in possession as well, which is obviously a massive part of football, as we know. So I think, I think I can't see too many differences really from Tuesday night. The change in the centre of defence, really.
So you think Ollie Watkins will keep his place and Dougie and McGinn both stay in the midfield?
I think he will. Trust them. We take Dougie out. Who do we put in? He's doing all right. I didn't think he did anything the other night, if I'm honest, when he came on. But he's still learning. He's still a kid. He is still learning. Ramsey is, for me, arguably I think he's been superb. I was chuffed for him the other night as well, seeing him get a couple of goals. Again, it's a bit of a different one with Ollie. He does a lot of work that people don't see. Now, look, the job of a striker, the modern game is a little bit different, that the striker does a lot more work for the players around him. But when Danny Ings was called upon at Brentford last month, he scored a cracking goal. Emmy slipped the ball through and he took it. I think it was pretty much first time, slotted it into the bottom corner. Danny Ings knows where the goal is. I wouldn't mind seeing Ings start, if I'm honest. Maybe it might give Ollie a bit of a G up to sort of to raise his game, because he has started the majority of games. So I wouldn't mind seeing Ings start, if I'm honest. Danny Ings is a good footballer. He's a very good player, but he needs the service. Otherwise, he's isolated. We'll see what happens.
For me personally, I would be starting Danny Ings. I think with the likes of Coutinho, Buendia behind him, and Ramsey, they're going to put it on a plate for him. So.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it would be interesting to see Coutinho linking up with Ings and sort of putting those balls through. And like I say, he scores goals. Danny Ings scores goals. Yeah, okay, they're all going to be in the box, but so are Ollie Watkins' goals. They're in the box.
Yeah.
I love Ollie's energy. Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, he's got fantastic energy, but there's just, I don't know if he's carrying an injury or if there's something. There's something not quite right at the moment with him, and I don't know if it's his confidence is down a little bit. Even when the ball's coming to him at the moment, it seems to be bouncing off him. Wherever he's controlling it, it's bouncing off left, right, and centre. And last season it was coming to him. He was getting these opportunities and these chances, but. I do rate him. Again, in and around the England team, generally now you're not a bad player if you're in and around England. And some would say he was unlucky rather to miss out on the Euro squad. But I do think Ings could do something for us. Definitely, like you say, with Coutinho and Ramsey and Buendia in and around him, I think it could be interesting.
Yeah, we got a couple of requests. Shall we let them in? Do you reckon?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
One's a blue nose though, so I don't know if I trust him.
Okay.
uh, there we go. Hello, Ted.
I'm not a blue nose, mate. I'm a big.
No, not you. The other
Oh,
one.
really? All right, okay.
A bunch of nonsense.
Oh, cheers, mate.
Oh.
Yeah, still wants to be there as a listener, though, doesn't he? Bless.
No, I've been listening on
Typically-
really carefully, like, and loads of interesting points, mate. And I've been going down the Villa since 1979. I'm an old boy now, but for me, Douglas Luiz is. We keep going on for the last 2, 3, 4 years that we need a decent CDM. 80s when we had Dennis Mortimer sat at number 6, Des Bremer number 7, Gary Shaw number 8. You know, we've never had, and I don't think the system has changed completely differently from those days. And I see Douglas, and I'm probably one of the only Villa fans who's ever thought, actually, I really like Dougie playing in that position, or Nakamba. I've loved Nakamba the last sort of 3 or 4 months when he's been in. Why there's on Villa Twitter, it's constantly we need a new CDM. Who's he going to displace? You know, who's going to play instead of? And I don't really understand it. And so I don't know.
It's interesting, Ted. I know what you're saying, and I think you sort of even through the '90s when you think of the likes of Andy Townsend and Kevin Richardson and those sort of players, and then moving forward to your Ian Taylors, you know, who's certainly a box around them. I like Dougie Luiz. I honestly like Dougie, and sort of as I said, I think you're not in and around the Brazil squad if you're not a good player.
Absolutely.
But it just sort of concentration at times, or a little. He's a fan. He's Brazilian. He does, you know, a few flicks and bits and bobs, which is great in the right areas of the pitch, as we know. But I do. You're playing 3 in the middle of midfield. If you can't just have I agree with what you're saying a lot there, Ted. I think you can't just have almost a rigid central defensive midfielder now because they need to be able to play the ball. You know,
absolutely.
It was Claude Makelele, when it invented the Makelele role. You know, that I think that was sort of the new era of central defensive midfielders almost, and being able to play. And then you look at the likes of Lasagna. They've got the ability to break up play, put the tackles in, but then, you know, ping a pass however many 50, 60, 70 yards to the midfielder, to the striker. But I think we're in a good position. I think it's nice to have a bit of competition.
We're in a brilliant position. We're in an absolutely brilliant position, and you know, I'm Villa Twitter. We've not been there for the last 20 years and realise how shit we have actually been over all these years and how great it is these days. And my other big point really I just wanted to make was like Ollie Watkins. He's got absolutely slated. You know, I'm a head teacher. I drove up for 3 hours to go and watch the game against Leeds. And Ollie Watkins, he didn't have a great game. But what people don't realise with Ollie Watkins is how he's dragging defenders out of the way for Coutinho, Jacob Ramsey. The way he was dragging players out of the way to create our 3 games. Yeah, he didn't touch the ball. Yeah, he didn't have many chances, but he wasn't running around like he normally does, and that's what people are slagging him off for. He had one game where he wasn't running his arse off. Perhaps he's a bit tired or whatever. Drags a right back and a central defender out the way to create those 3 goals was to me a phenomenal attacking display that I've seen from a Villa number 9 for many years, and people are just goal scoring chance, but my God, he created so much space with his display, and sometimes you've got to look at it in a different perspective of what number 9s are actually doing. that game back twice since I saw it on Wednesday night. And Ollie Watkins is giving so much more than just a goal scorer. And I don't know if Danny, I know I've heard lots of people on Twitter for the last 2 days bring Danny Ings in at Newcastle, see if he can do any better. Is he going to do what Ollie Watkins did on Wednesday night? I'm not convinced, and there's more to it, and people need to look into that. I think, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I agree, Ted. And sort of as I mentioned, I think that the work that Ollie Watkins does and he's running and he's chasing down is magnificent. And Dean Smith was one of the first to sort of praise that. And it's one of the reasons he signed him, wasn't it? That we defend from the front, really.
Absolutely.
You know, and he's the other night, certainly I think for Ramsey's second goal, wasn't it? The ball from, was it the second goal? I can't remember, one of them where he obviously took almost two defenders. He took Ayling away from the play.
He did.
Absolutely. But it is a difficult one because whatever era we look at, strikers are judged on how many goals they score. Whether or not, it's a naive way to look at it. I know that, you know that, but they are judged on goals and chances and.
For the first time, I think, since Gerrard's taken charge, I watched that second half and we're 3-2 up and it was a bit gung crazy. And I think Gerrard just said, sit back in formation. You saw the right back, the left back staying back, and you saw us kind of defend and they had all the ball for the next 30. And it was like, Gerrard had told them, no, we're going to sit back and we're going to hold on to this lead. We didn't attack and we didn't go for it. And you want, I don't know, for me, it was the first time I thought, oh, Gerrard's been a little bit conservative about our tactics. And come on, let's go for it. A fourth goal would have, second goal would have won it. And it was all a little bit cagey. And I don't know.
At not the dirty tactics, but almost the dirty side of the game of breaking the play up, causing to get our flow going in the second half. Absolutely, I would have loved to have seen us pushed on. I think that second goal before half time, I don't know if it was a psychological thing or what. It had an effect. It had an effect. Certainly at 3-3 was, we don't want to. Whatever happens, we don't want to lose this now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The catalyst for that. But no, I agree. I think we could have pushed on a bit more. We did. The second half was lacking a bit. It was lacking. We were a bit disjointed. They didn't deserve to win. I don't think at all. I think a draw was probably fair, but we should have. No, we should have won the game.
Yeah. Just like the fag. I'll talk in a minute.
Okay. Is our host still there?
Yeah, but I tell you what's interesting though. We move forward to that was a guaranteed 3 points like 2 weeks ago, and then watching the Newcastle Everton game and the crowd been up for it. God, they're just on fire, weren't they? And it's like suddenly I think it's going to be very much like Everton away, where they're all gung ho coming for us, and I'm just hoping it's under his belt. Ramsey's obviously on fire, and if we manage to get everybody fit from the week we might have had. If we can sustain them and get a goal early, keep the Newcastle fans quiet, I'm looking forward to 3 points. But it could also go completely pear shaped, and I can see 2-0, 3-0 the other way. That's the not the beauty of Villa at the minute, but it's just you just never quite know what you're going to get, and the saying like we need 90 minutes. We need 90 minutes, and we're going to pulverise somebody one day. But at the minute, you just don't know what you're going to get, do you?
No, I agree. I think that, like you just mentioned, the Everton game, I think there are a lot of similarities with Sunday. It was, Duncan Ferguson in charge. The atmosphere was absolutely red hot, wasn't it, at Goodison Park? And that was a great win. Great win. Great goal by Emmy. We showed character to hold on to the game. and it was a terrific win. And you know, I think we could do the same Sunday. Definitely, Newcastle aren't a good team overnight, but they are a better team than they were.
Yeah.
Whether or not Trippier is going to be playing, I think obviously Matt Target can't play. You know, so there's still a lot of the players there that have played this season and have been pretty poor. So I'm just hoping, like yourself, that we can capitalise on that really and go.
Guys think Bailey slots into all this? Because obviously we saw him score that cracker. It was such a great goal. He got injured for the next 2 months, pulling his pulling his. But you know, I can't wait to see a fit Bailey. You know, looking at him, you know, in his previous club and how good he is. But any replacement to put something in, or I can't see him getting in front of Ramsey or McGinn or Coutinho now, and I don't know where's he fit in, because I'd.
Interesting one, Ted. Definitely. I mean, you know, the front three has been Coutinho. Arguably, all three deserve their places. Okay, I know we just talked about Ollie Watkins, perhaps. You know, for Danny Ings, whether or not that's a change that could be made. Bailey's an interesting one. I mean, we've seen glimpses. At home, exactly, was the one, and I think it's exciting. I honestly think it may be a case of, you know, we've also got Bertrand Traore as well, haven't we? I know he's just picked up another little injury, but we've got Bailey and Traore, who arguably play very different roles, either on the right cutting in, which is what they prefer to do. You know, the left footers nowadays play on the right and then cut in on their left. But obviously can play both flanks.
Leaving Buendia out at the minute. Buendia, Coutinho together, and Ramsey. They're as shooing, aren't they? You can't.
Absolutely, and I don't think it should be changed, and I don't think he will change it. I think, for me, Emi Buendia is getting better with every game, and he's showing some real class about him. We knew he was decent, and I'm just pleased now that he's starting to find his feet a bit more and confidence. You know, the Premier League's a hard league, hardest league in the world. You know, stepping that gap between the Premier League and the Championship, and playing, no disrespect to Norwich, but playing at Norwich and moving to Villa at Villa Park. You know, players say it themselves, managers say it themselves. What a noise and us fans make and everything. So no, definitely, I think Buendia should be starting. He looks to be now, and he's. I think another game he's really going to be up there. But Buendia, I don't know. I think he's all right for Sunday, isn't he? I know he took a bit of a knock, and I think he's going to be all right.
My last little point before I go to bed, because I've had a bed soon.
Okay.
But what is going on with the atmosphere at Villa Park? I mean, you know, Leeds, full house, Wednesday night under the lights. I was in the pub beforehand and having a great time. We get in there and Leeds are out singing us, and there's nothing coming from the alt. For a night. I remember the Everton game when we first came back after COVID. How great!
Yeah.
That was the best atmosphere I've heard for many a year, and I've been going down there for 40 years. But it's quiet, and you see like the posts on Twitter from Eddie Martinez, great atmosphere tonight, lads. And I thought, Trinity, right next to the Whole 10 in the Trinity. I get a ticket wherever I can get a ticket these days, and I thought it was really quiet and really, considering Ev's had a few beers on a Wednesday night why the hell is it so quiet? You know, I don't understand it. I don't get it.
It's weird. I mean, was at home to Man City. Now, I think we all know why there was an atmosphere there, and you know, I've never heard of Villa Till I Die that night were who they were aimed at. But it was incredible. That atmosphere was absolutely incredible. Do you know what? I don't know. I mean, as our attendance this season, I don't. It does frustrate me, if I'm honest, because and get behind the lads and sort of and try to create a bit of an atmosphere. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. Villa Park under the lights, we know, is something special. It's
I
something
know, yeah.
special.
Bizarre. It sort of creates the atmosphere, it gets the spark. I think the goal on 45.5 minutes, but it just amazes me that they got that massive Holt end, and when they sing, but Leeds, fair play to Leeds, and I've got a lot of respect for Leeds, and they sang all the way through like we do. And games this season, it's been absolutely brilliant. And
Yeah.
I just think that can lift. It's just not been there for the last few games, and it's just
it's one of them, isn't it? Because usually the fans feed off what's happening on the pitch,
yeah.
and the players feed on. Of course, you're relying on each other almost. And to score 3 goals, watch score there. It's stuff that we, Villa fans, we should be absolutely thinking this is incredible. But I think, unfortunately, there is a bit of a section of our support sort of automatically happen, and we have a right to be, up at the top of like all these players aren't good enough, and I think we just need a bit of a reality check, if I'm honest, on the progression that we've made these last 3 years.
No.
You know what I mean?
Villa fan I'm friends with on Twitter, I've got anybody who slags off anybody, just delete. Let's keep with the positive fans. Keep with the fans. I think 5 years, 10 years, whatever. And I don't know how old you boys are, but I saw the end of the 80s and the start of the 90s. Oh my God. But we went every week and we had a good time. We had a few beers, and there were shit times, and we went down. These are the problems. Since my first season ticket was 79, 80, 81.
Yeah.
And these times for me are the best that I'm 53 years old, and I'm still as excited as I was when I was 14. I'm more excited.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
I'm more, what I'm seeing now, and the Stevie G, I love him to bits, and what we're doing now is just incredible. And the fact that we've got Coutinho in, we'd never get players like these 10 years ago, and I think we should be celebrating these times. Who knows when these times are going to come again? Do you know what I mean? It's unbelievable.
I couldn't agree with you more there, mate. Absolutely. I think it's, I was Brom, the season that we got relegated 6 years ago. And like you say, you've seen the good and the bad, and just look where we are now to have these Brazilian players, the best team in the world. One of the best keepers in the world, Martinez, playing for us. I agree. I think we should. I completely agree. I think we should be, making noise and getting creating that cauldron of Villa Park. Steven Gerrard was at Rangers for 3-4 years, and now that is one. Ibrox is one hell of an atmosphere. And one of the reasons he loves Villa is because of the. I think we need to definitely carry that on and. Go. You look at the noise at Everton away; it's tremendous. And I agree. I would love to see us certainly making a bit more noise for a bit longer at Villa Park for sure.
Bizarre that you can't. You say, come on, let's go and make some noise. Let's go, great. And I was driving up from where I live, and I was so excited, and I enjoyed the game. To be fair, it was 3-3. I enjoyed the game, but who'd come over from Ireland for the first time, and she's so excited to go to Villa Park, and I think, oh my gosh, you didn't really see Villa Park bouncing like it should do, and for Villa fans coming for the first time, and I'm feeling guilty for the Leeds fans saying this atmosphere, you're supposed to be at home, and actually 2 weeks ago it wasn't like this, and it's so frustrating, isn't it? And I don't know why that bothers me so much.
No, I'm the same.
But it really is.
I'm exactly the same. I'm so proud of, even when I take my mates and my girlfriend comes to games with me as well, and it's brilliant that she wants to come in the lower Holt with me, and through choice, and she absolutely loves it. And I just, yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I remember going to an away game at Brighton. Was it last year, the year before? It was when we scored the equaliser late on, and
Yeah.
but prior to that, I don't think we even sung a song in the second half. And I took a mate of mine with me at the time, and I was buzzing for it. And like you know, the sort of the comparison that you just made, and I was a bit like, why are we not singing? Why is there no noise? What is going on?
Wow.
It's bizarre, isn't it? And you say you don't 4th minute, that on the 8th minute, but
I
yeah,
know.
really.
It amazes me. You go to away games. I've been to a few this season, and you're in the pubs around Watford before the Watford game. There's all these game, and it's singing it over and over again. You get in the ground, and there's like 10 people singing it, and it doesn't catch on. And come on, when's this song's going to catch on?
Yeah.
And tickets away today in the Brighton end, but hey ho, I
really
go to Brighton. I don't care where I'm sitting.
I'm hopeful it's one that it's the say one of the shortest trips for me. You know, it's only just an hour, I think, on the train, just over an hour. So I'm hopeful. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get down there and a week on Saturday, and then Brighton, and then obviously Southampton at Villa Park the following week. So it's points definitely.
They were looking at 5-6 games now, and I like what Stevie G says. You know, he says he says we're ticking off one at a time, and he's looking at like the team slightly above us, Palace, they're now below us, and he's looking at, you know, and ticking them off. But you know, if we have 5 wins out of 5, you know, like Dean Smith did when we won the championship, if he has a little tiny run, we 7th and 8th, you know, aren't it's just so close.
Yeah, definitely, it is. It's close at the. And I'm not even going to sort of go down that road. But like you say, it's the same up and down. You know, all of a sudden, if Norwich start winning, obviously Leeds just below us as well. I think, in and around us. It is. I'd love us to sort of put a bit of a run together, and you know, there's teams there that could definitely be caught. You know, Southampton, Brighton.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think we're about
6 lost
7 points behind.
Playing well,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
They're all chucking away 4th place at the minute, and if we'd have beaten Wolves at home with that 3-2 game, Jesus Christ, I've got a special needs daughter, right, and I took her to the Wolves. I take her wherever I can.
And, lovely, brilliant.
That last goal went in. I was so fucked off, as we all were. She looked up and said, because my I'm a Villa fan, so
brilliant.
That was fun growing up. And she looked at me. I was so annoyed, and she goes, "At least Nanny's happy, Daddy. At least Nanny's happy." I said, "You know what, Jazz? You're absolutely right. Go on, let's go."
Yeah, lovely. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I mean, that was a sickener. That game was a sickener.
3 points then, and they lost. Do you know, we're so close if we'd have won that bloody game, which we should never have thrown away. And
no, definitely. And look, like you say,
2-0 on your big day out. 2-0.
Oh, it was easy. We were cruising. Absolutely cruising, weren't we?
Oh.
Old man came up for that game as well, and we were all sort of in shock after, and yeah, we were like, "What the hell's just happened? How have we been so comfortable at 2-0?" And weren't they? Everyone was just sort of thinking,
I was
what's happened?
On that day, and there was a Villa fan in front of 60, and his old man was a Wolves fan. I clocked him having a beer beforehand, just from what he was saying, and he kept quiet on 2-1. He kept quiet on 2-2, and on 3-2, he leapt up in the middle of the Trinity.
Oh, really?
About 15 blokes were going after him, and he was going. This poor Villa lad was like, "He's me dad, he's me dad." Getting out.
Yeah, not good at all.
That lad's no need. He's a 60-year-old bloke. He couldn't contain himself, no matter where he's sitting in the stand.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
Yes, yeah.
My little 12-year-old special needs daughter was like, "Dad, sit down." Right, lads, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to go to bed. I'm fucked.
Top man, Ted. Good to talk to you, mate. Take care.
Yeah, see you later, guys. Take care.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming on, Ted. Good night. I've been going to check the cake every 5 minutes.
Okie dokie, mate. No worries.
Yeah.
No worries.
My missus is a baker, so but she's gone to bed because she's knackered. So
Yes, yeah, I think mine's passed out on the sofa as well, if I'm honest, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, just sort of one thing just to touch on, mate, if that's all right. Obviously, just about that my dad's written with obviously Brian Little. You say you've got a copy, which is fantastic. That's lovely to hear. Really, really pleased. Yeah, it's just been a privilege really to be involved with that and sort of, you know, even myself learned so much about Brian's affiliation with Villa and the 50 years in various different roles and departments. Peter White for writing that with Brian and really proud of Brian for how fantastic he's you know, they work together. It's brilliant. So yeah, anybody wants a copy, officialbrianlittle.com is his website, and you can get it off there.
Yeah, I think Ivan has the copy as well. So me and Ivan have
Oh,
it.
brilliant! Yeah, wonderful. Watford game, I think, in and around the Doug Ellis stand. I think before that game, but yeah, it's, you know, a privilege to sort of be involved with it. Some real nice anecdotes in there from past players. You know, your likes of Andy Gray to Ian Taylor to Gary Shaw to Nigel. Tremendous ex-Villa players, and then, you know, the modern day Villa fans, celebrities now. Your Adil Ray, great people as well, and then the legends sort of David Bradley as well, and yeah, I've enjoyed sort of reading it and being a part of it, and
Yeah, I think I'm going to tag along with you next time. Okay.
problem.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie. I haven't read all the book yet. I've read a little bit of it, but I got 3 kids, so I work like
No,
early.
of course, mate. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I've read a bit of it. I've also got Gary Thompson's book.
Great guy.
I also
Great guy.
need to read.
Yes, yeah, definitely. It's just finding the time, mate. Of course, it is. It's that life, work balance, and everything else in between, isn't it? And trying to follow our fantastic football club. Yeah, it's a bit of a juggling act, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, definitely, but they're definitely worth having if you get what I mean. Like,
Yes, yeah. I think it's always a nice sort of keepsake, isn't it? You know, my dad wrote a book with Brian back in about 94, 95, when Brian went back to Villa, Return of the Little Villain. That was their first book. What, however many years, 28 years, 27 years ish, decided to, it was time to do another one. So, yeah, I'm just really pleased they did. I'm really, really pleased they did. And it's as well, because, you know, my old man's got some wonderful stories from over the years, you know, in and around Villa and stuff that he's seen. Incredible, incredible. And there's a few of those sort of tales within the book as well from the press box, which, again, I think, you know, a lot of fans may not have ever known a few bits of those and seen those. So, yeah, I think that and all the rest of sort of Brian's incredible memories and journeys with Villa and ex-players and managers that he's worked with. It's I think it's a real insight for any Villa fan, definitely.
yeah. You started reading the book yet?
I've got through. I think I've got through like the first chapter. I think I got the book early this week.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, I got through the first chapter and already sort of like dying to get more. It's been a bit of a busy week, but I'm hoping this weekend I'll probably like breeze through quite a few more chapters. But yeah, really good from what I've seen so far. Real good insight into his time at the club over the last 50 years, and you know, there's just things that you learn as you sort of as I flick through it. There's just things that you just, you know, never knew that you just sort of open your eyes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to reading it.
That's wonderful, Ivan. Yeah, that's really great to hear. I know my old man's listening to this, so I'm sure he'll be very, very sort of very proud to hear that as well, mate. Fantastic.
Yeah, I have to say I didn't even realise it was going to be definitely recommend. If anyone hasn't invested, they should do. It's a really good book.
That's wonderful. Yeah, brilliant stuff. Brilliant pictures in there as well, which is always nice. And yeah, like I say, it's on Brian's website for any fans that want to get it. I think post any Villa fans can get in there.
Ivan's gone quiet now.
No, mate, I'm still here. You're on cake watch and I'm on laundry watch because the missus is going to work and I've got stuff washing for us for tomorrow morning. So
yeah, I just got the
behind this is the real lives of Villa fans on a Friday night. What's happened to the days where we'd still be out down the pub now, wouldn't we? It's all changed. It's all changed.
Yeah,
So we're all doing our duties. Modern men.
anything to have a happy life, innit?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Cannot argue with that at all. At all. What do you think Sunday? Do you think we got enough to win? Do you think there's a score prediction in there for us on Sunday?
I kind of like to think that Sunday's got to be a must-win for us. I mean, against Leeds, I think we've got to go in trying to go in for the win, and I don't know. I would want to say maybe a 2-0.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I'd take a 1-0. In off Buendia's backside if it matters. To take the 1-0 smash and grab. But I am hoping that we can silence St James's and get a win. I think if we go up there, I think they won the other day, and they've been a bit topsy turvy. But as we were saying earlier on, look, the 80% of that team is still the players that have been in the relegation zone all season.
Mm-hmm.
A few signings, we know that, but we know that there's certainly a couple of those are going to be unavailable. And I think if we can have a consistent 90 minutes, we can win. We can win. Look at the team we've got.
That's a bit of an ask for us, though, isn't it? A consistent 90 minutes from Villa.
This is it. I mean, it tends to be one good half, does it? Or certainly, a good 70 minutes. It'll be interesting to see, like we mentioned earlier, interesting to see who plays centre half, whether he'll go for Courtney Hawes or for Callum Chambers. I don't know who I'd like to see. Brentford, it wasn't his best game at all, if I'm honest, and that was a game that we missed Mings for all his Brentford, and that showed.
But there's another potential, which is we could see both Hawes and Chambers on, because Chambers apparently can play that CDM role as well. Possibly an option. Yeah, I think he did it when he was at Fulham and he was their player of the season or something like that when he was with them in that role.
Yeah, was it last season? I think was it the season before, a couple of seasons
ago.
It might have
been seasons ago. Yeah.
Yeah, depends whether or not he can step it up to the Premier League as a central defensive midfielder. Do you know what I mean? It's like we said, the style of play, the pace, the aggression. It'd be brilliant if he could. Of course, it would. But I mean, I think we put Tuan Zabi in there a couple of times, didn't we? When he came on, sort of that holding midfield. Which we only saw literally a few minutes each time. But I mean, Mings and obviously Courtney Hawes are together. They've always played pretty well, I have to say.
Yeah.
I know Hawes is a left footer as well, but he can, he slots in on that right hand side there of the pair at the back. But I think personally, I would go with Hawes on Sunday. But Chambers came on the other night. Whether or not that was just a welcome to Villa Park. This is your first experience. Going. You've only got a few minutes, sort of thing, maybe. But we'll see, I guess. Yeah.
I think it's, in one respect, it's a little bit. We don't actually know how it's quite going to line up in the sense that I think our first season back and last season as well, it was very much we could always 11 who were going to start week in, week out. Whereas now we've got that little bit bench, but also players who can play across different positions. And I think that is something that we have been severely lacking the last couple of seasons. So it's nice to have that depth. And so we're playing against Newcastle. You know, there is looking at squad versus squad. Just is that a little bit more. You know, so I think it's something that we should be going into with the mindset of, you know, this is something that we can definitely get the 3 points out of if we play it right and do a good at least 70 to 80 minutes of football. And, you know, and sort of like have where we kind of maybe switch off a little bit. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, I think we've got enough to kind of just nick this one and the skin. So you can never be sure.
No, definitely, I agree, mate. I think it is refreshing when you look at our bench, especially the young kids. You know, at the moment, I know we've got countless players on loan, but the three obviously that stand out are the Cameron Archer, Keenan Davis, especially, and third has just literally completely gone from my mind. The young lad at Stoke, Philogene Badace.
Yeah.
But certainly Archer, you know, is started off on fire, and Keenan Davis as well. So it just, you know, it shows the strength that we have got in depth as well. And I think, like you say, we've got to go up there. You know, Gerrard's a winner. He wants to win games. And look, at the end of the day, so we have to go there. We have to go there with confidence that that we can go there and win. Definitely.
Yeah, I think also Gerrard must really want us to go out and get a result. I feel like, I mean, Leeds was a wild game. It was just, there were things just like really poor on our side as well. But I think this game, I think he will want us to just go out and get the result, because even when he first took over, we were quite dogged, and even though when we conceded, we wouldn't dare. You know, we pretty much, when expected to, we would pretty much come away with the result. And I think he will probably want us to get back to those kind of less mistakes in the back, you know. And when we go forward, we do look genuinely exciting when we go forward. But he is sort of providing, you know, a high work rate and an extra man in certain situations, which is great. But yeah, I think he'll want to see a response, and I think that respond as well. So
yeah, I agree. I agree, mate. I think I think he's a winner. And like you say, he's used that word, hasn't he, grit, a few times. And you know, look, if we have to go up there and win ourselves down, and you know, you prepare for the next game, and we're going to have to fight them. You know, Newcastle are a physical team. You know, and they've got the likes of Sam Maximan, you know, and players that can cause us problems, but they are there to be beaten. And like you say, I think we need to be tighter at the back. We need to have that protection of the back four, be organised, be disciplined, cut out the mistakes, or certainly as many of the mistakes as we can, and get that organisation back. And you know, look at Everton, how well we played there, and came away with a 1-0 win. I can't, you know, I can't see any. Definitely.
Yeah, I think especially with the run of the next 4 games as well, they're all potentially quite winnable for us if we can get the results right. You know, I think I wouldn't say we will win all 4, but I definitely would feel that, you know, we could come away with at least, I don't know, 8 points from the 4.
I think they're going to be difficult games. I think Watford at home is on paper the easiest to say. Every game in the Premier League's hard, we know that, but I think that's certainly the most winnable of the next few games. Newcastle, as we've just mentioned, Brighton away, you know, they've had a good season, but they've also had their dips as well. And then Southampton at home, again, you just don't know which Southampton team's going to turn up. I was over at St Mary's last weekend for their FA Cup game, and don't get me wrong, they made a fair few changes to the team, but they were shocking. If I'm honest, they were absolutely shocking. Coventry could have won that, and it was then Saints were forced to bring on Armstrong, Brozier up front. I think 5 subs are allowed, and they brought all 5 on to eventually nick the game in extra time. So I know they got a cracking result against Spurs in the week. I know we did it last year, but it is tough. So yeah, I think like you say, I think if we could pick up 6-8 points, I'd like 2 draws. I'd take that. I'd take that for sure.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, the one thing that I really, because it's just, I don't know what it is for me, like a psychological thing. Like if we sit in 11th, everything we've kind of done has kind of like not amounted to anything more than we did last season. Thing, but if we can just crawl out of 11th and just get into 10th, I'd feel even a lot better about that.
Greece, it's that funny bit of being in the top half of the table, isn't it? And I agree. I agree completely. And I think if we can, look, realistic aims for the season, of course, as everybody says, improve on the season before, progress. I think looking at what's ahead of us, I think Wolves are catchable. They're 7 points ahead, a couple of wins. The next 4 games are obviously big, but we're playing Southampton and we're playing. We win those games, and as long as we do all right in our others, we've got a chance of going above them and getting into that sort of position. I think Europe's going to be a bit of a tall order, and I didn't. I think we're still a season away from that, at least. Hopefully next season, but yeah, I think if we can get those points, like you say, we've got Leicester breathing down our necks, and Palace are always a funny team as well, aren't they? They're just below us, and then you're into sort of your Brentfords and who else is down there? Leeds. I think Everton are still sort of fairly low in the table, aren't they? But into that 10th place and push on to sort of in and around that 8th position. I think that'll.
Yeah, I think 8th would be the highest I would expect personally from this season. But anything above 11th, I'll take, and I'll be happy with that. Summer, and then I think next season is the season we're really going to be like, okay, it's Europe or bust. Be putting or staking a claim for one of those European places. So I think this season, let's not put too much pressure on it. If we do through some miracle, I think anything between 10th and 8th is realistic, and I'd be happy with that.
In the cup next season, let's go and win either the League Cup or the FA Cup. Have another day out at Wembley. I mean, we haven't had one this season. You know what I mean? It feels like ages ago since we were there.
Yeah, I think, again, especially with the cups, if we can have decent run in both cups, you get to use academy players, and that means you can get to keep them around a little bit more if you've got enough games to sort of spread out and have them play in the earlier stages. Where we should be, anything we go in, we should be aiming to win it, not be let's not prioritise this. I think everything we go in, we should be putting a squad out or a starting lineup that should be able to go out and win the game. Definitely. So I think next season that's going to be the focus. I think we were a bit light this season coming into it, and I think next season will be thereabouts. And that's something that I really look forward to, and we'll see where we end up.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. I think once Gerard's brought a couple more of his own players in that he wants to bring in, and sort of has a full pre-season with the team and with the squad, like you say, and certainly a couple of the young lads, hopefully Archer will come back and be pushing. I like Keenan Davis. I know he's got his sort of critics and what have you, but I like him, and you can see he's a good player. Okay, is he found his level? I don't know. I still think there's a Premier League player in Keane. And he can have an impact in our team, and so can Archer. And all of a sudden we can have 4 strikers in and around the first. I think that'd be brilliant for us. I really do.
I think so, but one controversial thing that I'd probably come out with a couple of days ago with is that I'm starting to see Ollie not as a centre forward, but more as like a attacking midfielder in the way he plays.
What sort of on the wing a little bit more?
Yeah, I think so, because he's the one thing is obviously with his work rate, it's brilliant, and he gives us an extra man in places where we need it, and that's the complete opposite of what Ings offers, which is what you were saying earlier in the back of the net. But he needs that service, and I don't feel he's been playing to that strength of his. In his senses, I think you're right. There is something which is not the same as last season, whether it's a thing in his head where he's putting a bit too much pressure on himself, but he's not quite the same as he was last season. That doesn't, but seeing him as an attacking midfielder isn't even a plays. He's got the kind of mix of being able to get the ball, take it forward to where they need to be, and he has got that. He has got the potential to score, but it seems like he takes one touch too many when he gets the ball, when he's in a good position. Just that one touch, if he took one less, he would be right there.
So he sort of stumbles. What you're saying, I know he played a few games for Brentford on the wing, and again, my old man is a huge fan of Ollie Watkins, and certainly, and before we signed him, was saying to me, he said, "That's who we should get. That's who we should get." And then we signed him very well since he stepped up. I know he's had a couple of sort of cameos on the left, hasn't he? As interesting, isn't it, to sort of see whether or not he could do that. He's got the pace, whether or not he's got the sort of the skill to beat the players. But then again, if and him, or is it gonna go 4-2-3-1? You know what I mean? It's difficult. You sort of you lose a midfield player if you move Watkins onto the left. Or I think there's a few things for Mr. Gerrard certainly to look at as we go into sort of the last into next season, mate. I agree.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, ultimately, look, we've got a squad where if you were fans of a lot of other clubs, you'd like bite your hands off. Teams that we've got are not bad problems. You know, certainly came up. So
definitely.
You know, we're definitely making progress. I think the Villa fan base, you know, we're all a bit guilty of it. We kind of, you know, expect more. But you kind of have to put that into perspective a little bit, in the sense of we completely rebuilt the squad when we first got promoted, and we spent on average about 9 to 10 million per player. Since we've got back up, that doesn't really give a whole picture of what we've had to do, because we've completely reshaped the squad.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
You know, where we were when we first came up to what we've got now, we're poles apart, but we're still working on getting a squad that is capable to really push for those honours, and it takes a bit of time. But yeah, us Villa fans are a little bit, you know, a result against Leeds is hard to take when you know, just after the game it's quite raw, but we're not in a bad spot. So, you know, I'm optimistic for the future, and as Mr. Ted was saying before, it was it's a really exciting time to be a Villa fan, and we shouldn't forget that. You know, from 6 years ago where we were to where we are now, and almost going into administration, I might add, to where we are now.
Oh, definitely, mate.
You know, we're so lucky and we're in such a good spot, so we just need to take that breath to remember that sometimes.
Definitely. And you know, you look at our neighbours, you know, just down the road and sort of what's happening there. Look, you know, we've all got our sort of banter and whatever, but, you know, the city of Birmingham, I'd rather see two teams in the Premier League, you know, fighting it out and looking forward to our derby days. And you know, I hope they do. I hope they do sort it out, and I hope it does sort of come good for them in the end, because I don't like to sort of see clubs going through it, whoever they are. Be a few years till we see them again, hopefully, and hopefully we'll stuff them when we do. But I do hope Blues sort of get out the mess that they're in.
Healthy competition.
Definitely.
And they've got, as much as I'm not a fan, but they do have a heritage. They do have a history. They are part of the history of Birmingham as well as a city. So
Of course, yeah, of course.
They'll come good eventually. I'm sure they will.
Yeah. It is, yeah, definitely. It's good. I'm loving seeing sort of Forest obviously doing all right with Keenan Davis there. I was keeping an eye on obviously a few of the teams. Coventry City as well. I know everybody hates us, but it's good to see sort of Cov having a half decent season. I'm friends with Simon Moore, the Coventry goalkeeper, who's really pleased for him and them having a decent season as well. And like I say, look, at the end of the day, we're Villa fans, and it is good. We are in a good position financially. We've got fantastic owners who want to invest in the club and the infrastructure of the club, and down to the academy, the training ground, development around Villa Park, development at Villa Park as well. Hopefully, within the next few years as well, to sort of sort out the North Stand as well. So I think it is. I think we are very lucky. I think we could be in a lot worse position that we're in now. And look, we were 3, 4 years ago. We were in a lot of trouble. So it's a good time to be a Villa fan. Definitely.
100%. The prediction for Sunday was 1-0 with Newcastle.
I'm going to go 1-0. I'm going to go 1-0. Yeah.
Cool. I think that's fair. I think it'd be there or thereabouts. It'll be an interesting game to watch, which I'll definitely be watching avidly. And I think we will go in with a very must win kind of attitude,
Yes.
and hopefully keep mistakes to a minimum, and hopefully get the result and build from that.
Yeah, definitely.
Is Wendy injured?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't think he is injured. I know he came off, but I think he's okay. I know Trippier was a bit of a doubt, wasn't he, for Newcastle, which I'd like to, hopefully he doesn't play, to be honest. But I think it was a hip problem, wasn't it, for Buendia? So I'm not sure. To be honest with you, I haven't had a chance to. It's been a bit of a busy day. I haven't had a chance to watch Gerrard's press conference full yet. So I'm going to catch up on that. And yeah, look, I'll take a 1-0. I'll take a 1-0 all day long. Definitely, chaps. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to have to make a move. I've got a very early start in the morning, unfortunately, for a Saturday. But it's been a real pleasure, sort of chatting to you. And look, always happy to chat Villa. It's a great time to be a Villa fan. It's always brilliant to hear everyone's opinions and takes on sort of what the future holds. So thanks very much for having me on. It's been great. Really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jay. It's been a pleasure talking to you and hearing your thoughts on all things Villa. And hopefully we'll down the line we'll get you back on again.
Love to. And hopefully, if you're up at Villa Park, give me for any of the games coming up, give me a shout, and we'll see if we can meet up for a beer and put the world to rights.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds like a plan, mate. Thank you so much for your time.
No worries at all, chaps. You have a great weekend, and hopefully win on Sunday. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
See you, mate.
Bye. See you later. Take care. Bye.
Is that Mr. Ted?
I'm here. I've been listening, but we're doing jobs around the house, so I've let you do all the hosting and stuff today, and kept my mouth quiet while I've been listening to you guys. But it's been some interesting.
Fair enough.
And listening to Mr. Ted earlier as well.
Yeah.
Sort of jobs around the house and stuff, things that need to be fixed and stuff. So with the father-in-law, so I was
no worries,
today.
no.
Yeah, so we've been at it from early in the morning. I think Spaces started at like 8 a.m. for us, which is what your 10 p.m. But I'll be on fire next week for sure, and pumped up and ready to go. And obviously we'll be discussing us beating Newcastle 3-0. So
Is that your prediction then?
I think it's going to be 3-0. I think the problem for them is that, they're on a hype at the moment because they had a good game against Everton, but I think everyone's having a good game against Everton.
That's a fair.
More than we did, but they had that sort of new manager bounce with Duncan Ferguson coming in. They were just lumping the ball forward, hoping for something to happen. And then, they get Frank Lampard and they have a new manager bounce again, and they beat Brentford in the Castle, who, if they've got that new manager bounce and they brought in a couple of players, Dele Donny van der Beek, and, they're relying on somebody who cost them like 1.4 million, like Demarai Gray. He gets up injured. Oh, everyone can beat Everton at the moment. That new manager bounce. Newcastle.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and then I heard that Matt Targett had a really good game for them, which is going to be a problem for him because he's not eligible for the next game against Villa. Probably their best player. That's going to be a tough hit if he's not playing. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to give him injections and stuff to make sure he can play. But that means he still won't be 100%.
Yeah.
For us, I'm hoping Coutinho and if they're fit with Jacob Ramsey, they've got a lot of problems to deal with at the back in their defence without two of their arguably best defenders, right?
Yeah.
If Bundy fit, Bailey's fit. So, Traore, whether he's come back yet or if
he's apparently he's done his hamstring again. He's out for a few more weeks.
All right, so he's gone. So we've still got Bailey to come, and Chuck's also there. Wasn't really super impressed with him in the last match actually, but so the attacking threat for them is going to be a big worry. The attacking threat from their side to us is going to be Alan Saint-Maximin, really, mainly, and how we deal with him.
Do you not think that we're a little bit defensively frail at the minute?
Yeah, we have been. We're going to be worse with Konza out.
Yeah.
Now he's banned for 2 games. And in all fairness, Tyrone hasn't had a good game for the last couple of matches. I felt like against Everton, he was struggling really badly against Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
In the second half, I felt like he was just bumbling into him all the time, didn't know what to do with him sometimes. And that showed in the next game where there's quite a few errors happening for them against Leeds. I always expect Leeds to score goals and cause problems, but I felt like Tyrone really, really had a bad game against Leeds. And look, Courtney House just signed a new contract, and we brought in Callum Chambers. And against Newcastle, who attacking wise haven't been good, they haven't been scoring goals. I don't see any reason why we can't try and give and start the match against Newcastle.
Yeah,
I don't think that would be such a bad idea. And, I've been watching training on Villa TV, and he's been looking sharp. He played a couple of games in the while the break was on against Mulder and the other team that we beat.
Yeah,
he's been playing games, so I don't see any reason as to why they can't get an opportunity to have a go. Because something's got to, by giving the other guys a rest. Well, Konza's, a forced change.
Yeah.
But Tyrone's had two games where he hasn't been at his best rate, to be honest, in my opinion. And House a chance at the back alongside Dean and Courtney House. When he last played, had a good game when he came on as a sub, and I think he was responsible for putting that ball wide on the wing there where we scored.
Yeah.
Picked out someone on the wing, on the left wing there. I can't remember who it was. And we ended up scoring a goal there. So, and attacking wise, he's probably in just. I think it goes unnoticed sometimes. Best header at the defend. Like, he's probably got the best header, like, out of all the defenders.
Because was alongside Mings, and Mings sent him up front, and he stayed back because normally Mings goes forward. And what Tyrone was saying is that because he does it in training and he knows he can do it, I told him to go for the header.
He's good in the air. He's really good in the air. He scored a couple of goals for us, like when he's up there. If he gets it flush, he scores goals. So yeah, I don't see why he doesn't get the opportunity, to be honest. But that's my quick input. I know that you've got to go to bed. I've got, yeah, I guess we'll talk to everybody next week.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Appreciate you adding your quick 5 pence worth in.
Yeah, I had to have my 5 pence in because I've been listening, but I've just got a few more things I've got to do now. So, 3-0, and Bailey's going to score. So's Ramsey, and sorry, I didn't talk about Ings. And Ings in training looks sharp. He looks sharp. Yeah. So I've been watching AVTV, and every time you're watching it, he's looking like he's really, really sharp. I would, for the Newcastle game, to say it, but I think I'll drop Ollie Watkins to the bench, and I'll give Danny Ings the start. To be honest, I think because the technique and quality of Coutinho in there's a lot of ability to be able to put the ball on a plate for someone like. And I just think against Newcastle,
that's what
opportunity.
We need. Yeah, that's really what we need.
Yeah, perfect opportunity against a team like Newcastle, who will be struggling defensive to come in. He won't have to do as much pressing and chasing around the top end of the